All right, with me now, Shanlon Wu, a former federal prosecutor and CNN legal analyst. Good to see you. Happy holidays. House Democrats, sent the Senate a list of 4 potential witnesses, including Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and of course now Michael Duffy, who is particularly in the spotlight with this, email chain. And more than 70% polled in a Washington Post poll this week say White House aides should testify. So in your view, how fair of a trial could the U.S. Senate trial be without witnesses?
It cannot be fair without witnesses. It's not really a trial. And McConnell and the president's defenders don't want anything that looks remotely like a trial, Fred. They are afraid of the facts, obviously. It's understandable if you have bad facts. They don't want any evidence produced at the trial, and that's how you produce evidence. You have witnesses, you have documents, you have exhibits. And from the reporting we were just listening to from Jeremy, it's so obvious why you need that, because it plays right into the obstruction aspect, which is they've suppressed important documents. So they really need to hear what else is out there.
It would seem that it's being made even more difficult now with this kind of reporting, Michael Duffy being, among those on the list of 4 being asked to testify. So with the development of these emails and that timeline on aid being withheld and then eventually released to Ukraine, does the pressure mount on being able to hear from at least the Acting Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, maybe even Michael Bolton, in your view?
I think the pressure does mount. I think it's a very masterful move on Speaker Pelosi's part to withhold losing control of the impeachment by giving it to the Senate. So certainly more political pressure builds the longer that they hold it. McConnell seems a man who's quite resistant to political pressure, so I'm not sure it's ultimately going to work.
He may have a little company, because listen to Senator Lindsey Graham, who had this to say about that.
To any senator who votes to compel the testimony of John Bolton or Mick Mulvaney before the president can have his day in court, exercising executive privilege before the courts. The court's available to every American, including Donald Trump. So if you call these witnesses who work for the president after he's invoked executive privilege, if you deny him his day in court, then you're abusing the constitutional rights of Donald Trump as president, and you're putting the entire presidency at risk. I can't imagine any senator doing this to the presidency.
Do you agree with that?
No, I mean, one big problem with that is that the president has not actually invoked executive privilege. It's kind of silly that he's making that point. Moreover, their general idea that you must go to the courts first is simply missing from the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say before you can impeach you have to have the judiciary clear anything. It's solely within the House's power to bring the impeachment, and it's solely the duty of the Senate to try the case, and they don't want to do that.
And what would this trial look like without witnesses?
Without witnesses, it looks something like a mishmash between a motion to dismiss a case where there's no witnesses or evidence, it's just arguments that the legal elements haven't been made, or kind of like a court of appeals situation where you already have the record, in this case the House report, and the lawyers would just be making verbal arguments based on that record. So it would look something like that, but it would not look anything like a trial, Fred.
All right, Shan Wu, always good to see you. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.